Hey, so welcome back to another video. In this video, it's a little bit different than the ones I typically do, and I'm going to delve into why I quit the company Beachbody despite being the poster person for it. So let's get into it. So I lost weight in 2008, spent pretty much all of 2007 trying to find shit to help, and my mom had ordered these DVDs, right? And she never used them. She'd had them for already a couple years at that point. And I just came across them one day cleaning, and I was like, hey, like, do you mind if I see what these are? And she was like, no. And she was like, okay, like, that's fine. Like, this was back with DVD players before, like, streaming became really a thing. And they were Turbo Jam. So, I put the first one like 15 minutes in the DVD player, and I was really I was in bad shape. I had premature arthritis. I was almost 14 at the time, but I looked like in my 40s, and not in a good way, not like in a Kim Kardashian, a little bit younger J-Lo type of thing, not Jennifer Aniston, not anything like that. Like, I looked like horrible habits 40s, and I was just over it, and I was sick of feeling that way. I was a kid. I didn't want to feel that way the rest of my life, and I had other problems starting to crop up, and I was over it. So I was a straight A student. I don't say that to brag, but like, there was this level of strange pressure put on me to be a certain way and act a certain way and speak a certain way. And I had a stuttering problem when I was a really little kid. Even before I started gaining weight with food addictions, I loved rap music. I just have always loved it. I used to sneak in explicit CDs, use iTunes gift cards to purchase explicit songs, and my family did not know. They eventually figured it out, and then it was like, okay, whatever. But I just was not the typical smart kid, academic, stellar personality, and I had to put that on all the time at school. Like, be the rule little girl, and be the good little girl, and never cuss, and never, like, dissent, and basically just fall in line and be this academic poster child that gets all these awards, but really is like dying inside. So I hated that, and I loved the Turbo Jam tapes. Like, genuinely and honestly, I really fell in love with Shalene's personality. I also went on to do P90X and Insanity in the months and years to come, but this was before Insanity. I think Hip Hop Abs was a thing with Sean T. He is still with Beachbody, but Tony Horton and Shalene Johnson both left years ago. Shalene left before Tony did, but they were three of the big time trainers that really made Beachbody the company that it became. Like, seriously, like, they really were. And I hold a lot of respect for all three of them. They really had a special place in my life at the time. And of course, I was not even 16 yet. I was 14. I started right before my 13th birthday, and then turned 14 during the weight loss process. And it changed my life. Like, I loved the upbeat music. I loved the moves. I loved Shalene's personality. I loved everyone in the program. It really felt like I had people there with me working out, and I really loved the program, and it did a lot for me. But so this gets into my point where I literally was like the poster child for Beachbody. Like, I literally was. I had coaches approach me when I was in high school online. Now, keep in mind, these were adults. So it was kind of strange, definitely strange, but understandable because I did look older a little bit. So where do I begin? It was never males, it was always females. So, I mean, at least there was that, but it was weird. And they were asking me, like, how I lost weight, and I would say, hey, I did Turbo Jam, went into some of the other programs with Beachbody, and they were like, oh, you'd be great at being a Beachbody coach. And I was like, yeah, like, I could see myself doing this. And I had never even done the Shakeology, like, at all. I don't even think I had a protein shake when I was that age. Like, I was so young. I was a child. So I did not even intake anything like that. I was a child. I literally replaced my eating habits. I was constantly eating sugary junk food. I was living off of sugary junk food. My body was not getting any real nutrition. I was literally in crisis mode. And my, pediatrician did not bring it up because of the whole stigma of even bringing it up with females and female teenagers in the first place, which I think is wrong in a lot of respects. But I was in crisis mode, and it was not going to be somebody else in my life that was going to help me. So I quite literally had to help myself and self-start and be self-motivated and self-disciplined. And that is the reason why I am sitting here literally to the day, a week before my 28th birthday, and I have not gained the weight back. Like, I lost the weight one time at that age, and a lot of people think, like, oh, it was so easy because you're young. Like, no, like, I was a food addict. I was a sugar addict. I literally was wearing men's wide tennis shoes and pants, and God, the whole thing was just horrendous. But, so I had not used anything beyond the workouts for losing weight, like, and also replacing my eating habits, basically. I ate 3 meals a day, 2 snacks, the works. Didn't do anything strange like a detox, which is basically just starving yourself. Didn't fast, which is also a fancy, nice, cuter, trendy way of saying you're just going to starve yourself. And yes, I've gone to college. I have 3 science things. I have a bachelor's in biology, I have a master's in education, a master's in biology, yada yada. I have a NASM and all this other bunch of fucking stupid fancy fucking papers. But anyway, I literally did not even intake the Shakeology, like, ever. But they were so dead set on wanting me to promote it. And I said, no, this is not what I did. Like, no, like, I am not going to alter my story to make it more marketable. Like, that always has irked me. Like, no, this was not my reality. I'm not pushing this on people. And yeah, at that point, I was 18, 19 years old. And I was taking protein shakes. Yeah. And then when I got into lifting and later, a little bit later in undergrad, yeah, I wasn't taking like standard whey protein shakes. This was really before the vegan thing was really there. But I wasn't taking whey protein shakes, and that was it. Like, that was literally it. And then when I had signed on, so this was like 2011, 2013, when Beachbody females were like starting me out and being in my Facebook messages, which was strange enough because I was an underage female in high school. So it was weird. And even for my naivety back then, it was very strange. I honestly think they should have looked at how old I really was and then just kind of left me alone. But it was strange how they were persistent. And I'm not saying they're all like that. I'm sure they're not. But I didn't like the fact they were doing that, 1, and 2. I also did not like the fact that they were trying to make my story different and make it more marketable based on whatever newer products they were creating. And I didn't like it. I didn't approve of it. So I was already kind of on the fence anyway. But at the time, I did want to start a YouTube channel. I did want to start my own business. I was just very shy, even by my standards back then. And I literally just didn't know what to do about it. I didn't want to put myself out there. I had to do a lot of inner work to figure that out and get through that shit and be, how I am now. But it was different. I was like, okay, well, I guess I can sort of do this. So in 2015, I was going into my junior year of undergrad, and I signed on in the summer. I think it was May timeframe. The summer break had just started. And so if you don't know, one of their like hallmark programs now, I guess by what they call it, is the 21 Day Fit. And it was literally like small little like containers, like this is my glass case, like small shit, right? And I did not do any of that. I was literally a 13, 14-year-old who had to learn how to cook healthy. I was not measuring my food out. Like, I was just eating my food. I was hungry. I was a kid. I was a growing kid. And then I did track all in high school, and I was a cyclist as well. And so, like, I needed food, y'all. Like, I did not want to be restrictive. And my mom, I grew up with her being a diabetic. So before every meal, she had to sit down and prick her finger. And to me, trying to measure your food out like this, like all the time, or points, like for Weight Watchers, that was like a literal hell for me. Like, it was too close, eerily close to my mom with being a diabetic, because I was teetering on the edge of becoming a diabetic myself for several years. When I mean all I ate was sugary junk food, y'all, everything I ate was sugary junk food. I literally went back last year and rewrote out what I was eating. There was nothing of nutritional value. Nothing. It was just junk. So I was very, very fucking close to being a diabetic. So I did not want to do points. I didn't want to measure my food. And I was a kid. I just wanted to eat my food and go about my day. And I didn't even realize at the time how groundbreaking what I was doing was what I was just already doing. And people were like, well, what do you do? What do you do? So then I packaged it all into my 7-phase winning weight loss methodology, but more on that for another video at another time. So this 21 Day Fits program was really going against like what standard that I had for myself and what I wanted to teach other people, but they were so dead set against me promoting it that it was icky and it was yucky. And then they started doing these detoxes and shit, and I'm just like, no. Like, I didn't even have my NASM at the time, but I didn't even need a NASM certification to lose the weight and keep it off better than 95% of grown adults. I didn't. I had already kept it off for years and years at that point. So I was just sitting there like, this makes no literal sense for me to stick with this company and pushing shit that I don't fucking believe in. And it doesn't make fucking sense for me to do it. So I quit. I quit like in the fall of my junior year. And like, I didn't even start my own company until 5 years late, almost 5 years later. But it was just frustrating to see that I was just trying to really show people what I did and help them with it, and sparked that lifelong love for fitness and healthy living and just feeling better about yourself and being energized and happy to go work out, instead of it being this painful, terrible thing that you just hate and dread, because that's how you just don't stick with it. So I did not like what they were doing. I don't know Shalene necessarily on a personal basis, but she left Beachbody like right after PIO for numerous reasons. But I want to bank that might have been a reason why. I know Tony Horton was going to eventually do like Beyond P90X3 with them and everything, but he left several years as well, and now he does his own thing too. So it was just interesting to see some of the Hallmark people leave. Sean T is still with them. Still love him to death. He is Sean T. But of course, like, I ultimately wanted to separate myself from the company and have a higher standard for how I help people, because that's what I do. I help people one-on-one. I have my group coaching program. And in reality, if I had stayed with that company, I would be dimming my light and my gift to help people so fucking much. Like, so fucking much. I would have shortchanged myself so much by staying with them. And it wasn't in alignment with my values. Was not in alignment with how I help people or what I did for myself. So it all just did not make sense for me to stay with them. And then in 2020 was when I started out as Ashley Nicole Fitness LLC, and then I realized very quickly there's a shit ton of Ashley Nicoles out there, also in the fitness industry. So I'm like, okay, there's literally no other Ashley Corf out there. So I switched it to my first and last name, Ashley Corf Fitness LLC. So that I switched that earlier. Well, it was last year. It was last year at some point I switched it. it still gets fuzzy a little bit because it's been a lot of wheels to turn and figure out, but very happy with it. I finally did my first evergreen group program, the Diet Killer, and I've been putting that project on the burner for the whole 2.5 years. Like, I had lead magnets, but cookbooks and stuff like that for people, guides and stuff like that. But I have always just been pushing the one-on-one coaching for so fucking long. I did a couple beta tests for the group, and they just, the thematic and the name and the vibe just was not there yet. So I actually didn't continue to do the group programs I had originally done 1.5 years ago for real. So yeah, it's been a ride. It's been a lot, but that's ultimately why I decided to leave Beachbody, even though I was, quote, the poster person for it with my level of success with their programs at the time. And it was really cool to have it impact my life. Shalene is a cool person. Tony's a cool person. Shanti is a cool person. So no hate towards them at all. No hate towards the programs itself. Not even really for the company itself. Like, I just really hope they realize that there's people out there that are going to come up through the ranks, and they got better solutions. So it's kind of cool. A little girl did weight loss better than multi-million-dollar companies. It's cool. It's weird. It's so weird to like think that at the time I didn't even realize the extent to what I was really onto and what I was really achieving, and how I could also translate that into success for other people. So it's so cool. It's so cool. I get a little bit like reminiscent around it every time this year, because it's, you know, literally the like decision anniversary that I made to change my life, and it's cool. It's crazy it's been that long, but it's just awesome to me. It's awesome to me, even though like I still left the company, like, and I think that speaks volumes, coming from a business perspective, like a business owner, a CEO perspective. Like, you gotta make those decisions for yourself, and even if you're not in business, like, don't ever do something that makes you feel yucky or isn't like aligned to what your vision is. So that's my advice for today. If you got nothing else from this video, but also shows people in the flesh like what I stand for, what I'm about, and how also I can help you without any of the other shit. So if you need help with your weight loss journey, mission, however you phrase it, check out the description in this video. And if you want more updates and helpful information and videos like this where I give a review or something like that, I've done HelloFresh and Blue Apron before too. So subscribe, like, and I will catch you in the next video.